Hey guys, welcome back to episode 9 of Card Crunchers with myself, Pokémon King, and Mike. So today we're going to be talking about a couple of topics as always. We'll start off with the new Pokemon set that's just released in Japan, Pokemon 151. So what do you think about it?
Yeah, it's been crazy, hasn't it? There's so much going on with this set. I mean, as a set itself, it's like it's going to be popular. It's the Gen 1, it's the originals. It's always going to go down very, very well. But I think the craziness on it is how mad people are going for the Japanese sealed product, trying to get their hands on it, isn't it? That seems to be what's
Yeah.
going on in the community right now. And obviously you picked up Japanese for a long time and you don't pick it up anymore, so be interested to hear what you think about it.
Yeah, the set for starters looks absolutely
Yeah.
incredible. I think Pokemon have smashed it out of the park. I know a lot of people were a little bit skeptical when they announced it, saying, "Oh, they're doing another rehash of the original Pokemon." But everything we've seen so far just looks absolutely amazing. Yeah, I was looking at it. Obviously, I've pre-ordered some of the English stuff, and I've got one box of the Japanese coming. Actually, it's the first Japanese box I've ordered. I didn't obviously. I got one in the Pokemon Center actually, and I bought one in Macari.
Yeah.
Um, for I think it was £76 plus whatever the shipping is. But I've got some other items anyway on my buy anyway, so I'll just get them all
Yeah.
shipped together. Um, but yeah, the set looks really great. Obviously, prices in the UK seem to be around 115 to 120 a box, and in Japan it seems to be around 75 to around 85 a box. So it's better than I expected. Honestly, I think perhaps possibly the Pokemon Center announcing the print to order, maximum of one per customer, of course, which seems honestly fine for now. I think it shows their intentions from the get go
Yeah.
as soon as the set released, to try and ensure that as many customers can get product in their hands. And let's be honest, even though some people were saying, "Oh, one box doesn't seem like enough," for the most part, most people's collecting in Pokemon for years was buying a couple of packs here and there. Most people weren't buying cases of sets, let's be honest, to open.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it'd
So,
be I guess we'd never know obviously, but it'd be really interesting to if you could see how much that impacted the price, the fact that they did do the print to pre-order thing, that you could just hop on. And I know you're not getting it for release. It's like
yeah,
it can be from now till December, I think, as far as it goes, which
yeah,
is kind of crazy, really, if you think about it. But yeah, I think, yeah, imagine where the prices would have been if they didn't do that. Because I've ordered it from that. So I've ordered one box using that print to pre-order thing because, I mean, as you know, and as many of us know, I don't collect that much Pokemon anymore. So for me, like just grabbing that at, I think it's like £32, which is retail. Well, it's 5,800 yen, wasn't it? And then shipping.
yeah,
You've then got shipping. You have to use a mail forwarder, so you've got shipping to them, and then shipping over back to the UK or wherever you are. But obviously, it's still a lot cheaper than current market prices. But yeah, I'd imagine if they didn't offer that, the prices would have been 1.5 to 2x probably what they are now, which is
yeah, I
it's
agree.
crazy, really. It's crazy, and I think actually another thing that may have helped is the fact that the English set went up like literally like 2 days ago. So
Yeah,
within the same week, you could pre-order the English product on the Pokemon Center website. So I think that's probably also helped massively divert people's attention. I think it's a great idea. I hope to see them continue with this actually, because it diverts people's attention away from the Japanese product. Because they're like, oh, just constant hype. Oh, it's new set. I want to be the first person to open it. I want to be the first to have these new cards. And a lot of people will just see, oh wait, I can pre-order the English set right now. I'm just going to pre-order English. I'll just get my order in. And
yeah,
I know, to be fair, they sold out really quick, didn't they? the English pre-orders.
Yeah.
It was only up for
almost instantly.
Yeah, I think it was up for like an hour or two, maybe. So unless you were like online at the time, you would have missed it. But yeah, I think again that was another thing that they've done, which has really helped divert attention away from overseas trying to get that Japanese product. Like, there's always going to be a demand for it. Don't get me wrong. There's people that like collecting Japanese, and but it's definitely going to help going forward if they keep doing it like that.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was actually, I'm glad you brought it up, because that was the thing that I noticed that I also thought was obviously a really good idea, because they're going to have to, I hope they do it with every set, honestly, going forward, because, you know, we've discussed this before on previous episodes of the podcast, what Pokemon could do to ease that transition, kind of alleviate the demand on the Japanese market, and perhaps move people more over to back to English. And I think having that, I mean, the release windows, it's September 22nd, the English set releases. So we are a few months, to be fair, away from it. But it's in people's minds now. You can pre-order. They've also announced other products that are coming out, like the Zapdos collection box and the new premium box as well. The which, you know, kind of goes alongside of the Charizard box that we also mentioned before. So that's another thing where perhaps the Charizard Ultra Premium collection will start to rise now, because people want that and a Mew together.
Yeah.
So that again, that's another interesting topic. I've seen those Charizard ETBs down to £86 at the moment. So if anyone's still looking to pick one of those up, I highly recommend getting one now. But yeah, the set looks amazing. They've done what they can considering the amount of demand, and I agree.
Yeah.
If they hadn't done this print to pre-order box, I imagine it would be, probably in Japan, boxes would be £130, £140. And over here would be about 200.
Yeah.
So considering, I mean, £120 is a lot to buy in the UK. I think Kawaii TCG has got them down to £86 a box within the UK, which is fantastic. I don't know how much they've got. I know a lot of names on Instagram, they were selling boxes, but their buy price was at over £100 each.
Yeah.
So a lot of people struggled to get, even that a lot of people struggled to get product to sell that cost them less. So it'd be interesting to see how the product goes long term. I think they'll probably print it quite a bit, which might encourage people to just kind of wait. Like, I'm happy to wait for this box for the Pokemon Center. If it comes in December, great, it's a Christmas present for myself. But you know, I'll probably end up opening my box. What are you going to do with yours?
I don't know. I guess it depends when it comes, right? If it comes and the English set is out and I've already opened that, then I'll probably just leave it and keep it sealed as a nice. Yeah, I like having sealed items in the collection as well. So, yeah, really, honestly, it depends when it gets here, to be honest. But so yeah, I'll see what happens. I'll see what happens for that. But yeah, a really good point about the Mew and Charizard UPC perhaps being collectible together, being that Gen 1 Pokemon. I hadn't really thought about that. So yeah, if they're still £86, then that is that's really, really cheap, let's be honest, with the packs inside as well. I think when I got them, the cheapest was 90. I can't see them going under 80. If they ever hit like 70 something, that would just, I feel like everyone would start buying them just to open really cheap Sword and Shield packs if that happened.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, so. Going back to what they did with the English pre-orders, when I first saw that, I was like, oh, why? I didn't think about the fact that they might be trying to take the pressure off the Japanese product, and I was like, why are they taking pre-orders for this? Like the next set isn't even out. What set was it that just came out? Just now that we opened?
Paldea Evolve just came out.
Yeah, so Paldea Evolve came out, and within 2 days or so of that, we already had obviously we've already had the information for the next set after that, and then you could already pre-order the set ahead of it. I was like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Like, you're just taking. It's kind of like it's going to make people skip the next set because they're looking forward even further. But now looking back at it and sort of observing it a bit more, it's like, oh, okay, I see why they're doing it now. It makes sense. Makes sense why they're putting that information and taking those pre-orders way in advance. And yeah, to be fair, props to them to doing that and the print to pre-order thing. I think that's two very good ways that they've come up with to try and alleviate all those issues with the Japanese products.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we know for a while that they had to do something.
Yeah.
Because obviously we had the mad demand back in 2020 for English products, and obviously we're kind of seeing kind of similar things with Japan in terms of Japanese product, but I think it seems to be a bit more mad in Japan at the moment. So yeah, we'll kind of see how it goes. It'll be interesting when the English set comes out. I know the Pokemon Center will put up more pre-orders for these Pokemon Center ETBs. I think they probably just wanted to see what the demand was in the first kind of initial couple of hours. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I'm really excited for the set. I know a lot of people are, and if you're not, there's other sets that you can collect and enjoy as well. So
yeah, I mean, I know actually we touched on the waifu type of Pokemon stuff that's going on in the last episode or the episode before. I can't even remember now. They all merge into one.
Yeah.
But like on Instagram, especially in the Instagram community, there's a lot of like WOTC versus modern. There's a lot of like WOTC collectors frustrated at these modern prices, and there's a lot of people into modern who are like, these WOTC people complaining. What do you think about that situation?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I shared a reel about it anyway, taking the mic. Yeah, I think it's going to happen. Of course, a lot of people have strictly only been WOTC collectors, and that's absolutely fine. They're collecting for nostalgia. Let's be honest. It's a different kind of game than collecting in general because you love Pokemon. And I know some people might be watching this and they might disagree. That's fine, but if you love Pokemon, you accept at least all the products, and sets and the Pokemon that they have. If you're strictly only collecting 151 Pokemon, then maybe you're just kind of collecting nostalgia rather than actually loving Pokemon as an IP, because, there's generations that are stronger than others, but I love Pokemon all the same. Obviously, I have preferences to specific Pokemon, but I don't think there's any issue with collecting any era, honestly. Just collect what you love at the end of the day. And I can imagine people get frustrated because they're seeing these prices, and some of these waifus are outstripping any WOTC cards ever highest price. And I can see how that would be frustrating. But at the same time, are you collecting WOTC because you want it to be worth $1 million in the future, or are you collecting because you enjoy it? And if you're enjoying it, then why does it matter what the price is relative to another product?
Yeah, I think there's always going to be two parts to that, in the sense that there's going to be a lot of people that do it for both reasons. There's going to be a lot of people that are collecting it because they enjoy it and they love it, and that's nostalgia and it's their childhood. And then there'll be a lot of people, the same people, who also think, yeah, I'm spending a lot of money on these, but they'll probably be worth more down the line. So it's like, for some people, it might be 50-50 between those two things. Other people, it might be 70-30, 90-10, in terms of it's more of an investment than connecting back to their childhood and that enjoyment. So I think potentially maybe the problem comes from the fact there's like investing involved and there's money and value involved. I think whether that's cards, stocks or shares, I don't know, just anything, like as soon as value and money is involved, people get very emotional. And I think that's where that frustration and anger comes from, is that it's just emotional from oh, I bought these cards hoping they'd go up, but this card that came out 3 years ago that in their opinion looks rubbish, it's not even a Pokemon, it's gone up 10 times. Like, that's really annoying. So then they, post about that. And then the same the other side, like, once you see that a lot, it also gets quite annoying. So then you end up posting like, oh, all these WOTC collectors moaning, like, just give it a rest, like, enjoy it, and perhaps, I don't know, actually, perhaps some of that comes from the fact WOTC has dropped as well. Like, let's be honest, since the last year or two, WOTC's dropped like quite a bit from post Logan Paul, from that like 10x increase, then came down 50%. So perhaps some of those people were involved back then, bought really high, lost value. They thought they'd hold it and continue collecting anyway, and it still hasn't, gained any more value. But then they're seeing these modern cards, and it's like, and just fuming about it. But I think it's just Pokemon, isn't it? It's just trading cards. There's trends. There's always trends. Like, I think I remember seeing someone post just asking like what the deal is, like why are these popular and why are they going up so much? And I think I replied like, there's no logic to it really. It's just Pokemon trends. Like, sometimes it's Prime cards and the Prime cards were shooting up. Now it's Lily cards and Lily cards are shooting up. In a year's time, it would be another card or another product. And it's just the typical hype train that people try and jump on as early as possible to get in those like 10x value in a couple of weeks. And I think the problem is the more it happens, the more people look for it and the more people jump on and the more hype that then gets generated. So I'm sure you've noticed, as you can see now, I see a lot of people posting, like almost speculating on the next Lily card or the next full art trainer. And I've seen people post images of like a reverse holo that was like, oh, this is like a reverse holo Lily. A week ago it was £4, now it's £60. Or just that speculation on like what the next card might be that takes off and trying to get in early. And I think the more it happens, the more people look for that next thing, the more people get involved in trying to find the next hype to get on that 10x train. And but I mean, realistically, you're guessing, and if you just for me it comes back to just collecting what you love, and then you don't really care either way unless you're overextending massively with money and value.
Yeah, that's all it is really. I think, from what I see anyway, if I've bought a lot of things that I've collected and invested in a lot of things that haven't got over time. I mean, during the whole WOTC hype, I didn't have WOTC. I was watching everyone going, oh, my base set charge is worth, I could buy a house now, I could do this, I could do that, sell this, it's worth money. And I was looking at my collection and I was like, well, none of this is really going up. But instead of being upset with WOTC, because let's be honest, there was a reason why it went up, not only just the Logan Paul hype, but a lot of especially these first edition cards, the populations are very low. Even if you've got a card that's population of 1,000, for a card that's, over 20 years old, that so many people were kind of exposed to, it's not a high pop at all.
Nah.
So, what I did was I just doubled down on what I was collecting.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if right now WOTC's dropped, Gold Stars are dropped, EXs are dropped, all that tells me is, why aren't you buying more? Like, if something drops, buy more.
Yeah.
As simple as that. It's, instead of moaning about prices of a Lily card going to, $100,000, the cards that you collect are now cheaper to pick up and easier to get because people are selling them to buy these Lily cards. So just keep picking up more. It's, it's kind of, I relate it to what I did with, Flesh and Blood, and Flesh and Blood crashed quite a lot really in 2021. And, there was stuff that went down from $5,000 to, £500.
Yeah.
And that just made me want to buy it more. So I was like, well, I know if you believe in what you collect truly, and this is not just a love, but also an investment side of it. If you're investing in a product, are you investing it because you understand it, or you invest in it because Gary down the road's telling you to? Because if you understand the product and you truly believe in its future and it going up, then that nothing else matters. Just keep buying, keep doing what you're doing. So it'll be interesting to see what the next trend is. Again, people can try to predict it. It's just fun to watch it, honestly, and it gives us something to talk about on the podcast as well, which is great.
Yeah.
So, I would say for the WOTC collectors out there, just keep collecting and investing in what you enjoy. WOTC at the end of the day, it's not going to go anywhere, let's be honest. It's the original stuff. People are always going to want it. It might not be my preference, but it's most people's preference at any point. People have a soft spot for WOTC. There's specific cards, for me, like base set Ninetales, I look at and I think,
me too.
It's a beautiful card. I look at the Jigglypuff from Jungle, and there's specific cards for me that, I just remember from my childhood, and it's, they're cards eventually that I want to pick up, graded. So, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people that have also got that on their radar where they go, right, this hits a certain price, I might pick this up. So people are always going to want to collect WOTC. Not saying that people won't always want to collect the full art trainers, but I guess if you think about how many people truly want to collect both sides of it and aren't just jumping on a hype, you'd probably find more people want WOTC.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think what you said about the fact that, like, if you're collecting WOTC, you should see the opportunity you have. I guess it all comes down to perspective, right? They're choosing to focus about the modern hype and get frustrated with it when they should see that as, oh, this is an opportunity. No one's watching WOTC right now. Oh, look, it's like ridiculously cheap. So I can now pick up cards that I thought would cost me X amount. I'm getting them at a 75% discount right now. Like, if that's truly what you enjoy collecting, see the opportunity, not the negative that, like, why didn't WOTC go up? Or you know what I mean? Like, it's a really good point in terms of how people are deciding to look at things, because you did that with Flesh and Blood, and even like you said with the WOTC boom in 2020 and 2021. You were just still minding your own business, collecting what you love, and weren't following just what everyone else was doing. Perhaps the only reason why people don't do that is buying something that's gone down in value. I know you find this easy. I know I can do this easily as well, but for most people, I think that's something that they struggle with. There's kind of like a weird emotion involved when, if something's dropping and you're buying it, it feels wrong. Like, it purely investment speak, like investment talk. Like, if you were buying some stocks and shares as they were dropping, most people aren't doing that. But that technically is the better thing to do. But it feels wrong because it feels like, well, it's dropping. If I'm going to buy it, it's just going to keep dropping. I'm just going to lose money. And that's exactly why people buy things as they go up and at the top, because they're like, it's gone up 20%, it's gone up 100%. It's just going to keep going up. If I buy now, I'm in, and it will just keep going up. And I think obviously that then gets applied to cards as well. So if they're 90% of their decision making is based on the value and investment, when it goes down, when it drops, it feels very wrong for them to buy it. So if you can learn to kind of separate that, and I think if you've done it once and then and you see it work, if you buy something as it drops, like, I mean, we can make so many examples. Like, you were Flesh and Blood, things that dropped to 500 from 5,000. Evolutions, booster boxes, £90 a box for about 5 years. They were in every collection box for eras ahead of it. Like, it was so much of it. Suddenly it's like 10x. It's odd UPC. Obviously, it hasn't happened, but this is an example we're given. Like right now, ridiculously cheap. 5 years down the line, probably not going to be £90 a box. Once you've done that, once you've bought something cheap and as it drops and you've seen it work, then I feel like you're more comfortable making those decisions again. But for someone who's never done it, it feels like the wrong thing. So I think perhaps that's a big barrier for people to then just to not see the opportunity, because a lot of their belief in its investment is coming from its current value and its current popularity, versus like what you said, if you truly believe in it, if that's something you truly believe in, shouldn't matter what anyone else is doing. Like whether everyone's buying it or no one's buying it, if you believe in that product long term, doesn't matter. If it's cheap, see the opportunity. And if you love it, doesn't matter either way, really, let's be honest. Like if it's 50-50 between investing and collecting, yeah, it sucks that it's gone down, but do you care as much as you would if it was just like some stocks that you bought? Yeah, you wouldn't. You still got the product that you wanted. At the end of the day, you still collected the item. Moving on, actually, I think we need to talk about Magic the Gathering and the ring, the One Ring, and the whole situation. I mean, it's people have got packs, people are opening it. I guess you're waiting for yours still.
Yeah. So obviously, the last episode we talked about this, and the highest bounty at the time was $1 million.
Yeah.
It's now gone up to $2 million. And after this video, probably tonight, I'll see it's gone up to 2.5 million or whatever. But,
10 million.
When you talk about trends, it changes so quickly. So the set actually technically isn't out yet, but pre-releases were last weekend.
Okay.
So the set doesn't actually release until this Friday, but stores with Magic the Gathering, basically, I think it's different. It's actually different to other TCGs, but the law, it changed a couple of years ago. But stores get X amount of product, and I guess collector boxes and bundles and stuff. They get that product for the pre-releases, and they can sell it from once the pre-releases are started. So I know that's in the US a lot. I'm not sure if it's in the UK as well, but I know it's in the US at least. So a lot of products being opened. Obviously, we've had some of the Soul Rings already, the foil serialized and the non-foil serialized ones. So they've already started coming out. The prices I've seen for some of those are... I remember seeing the serialized Weiss Schwarz sort of online stuff, and I remember someone saying 15 grand for Asuna, and I was like, oh my God. But then you think there's only 10 of them.
Yeah.
And that was, I think, for the 1 out of 10. But there's some of these Soul Rings. I mean, the non-foil ones, they're not serialized, but they are numbered. So they're not numbered, but they are serialized. So there's one of like 7,000 printed, but it doesn't say it on the card. But they've just published it on their website. So they've made X amount of collector boosters. Here's the pull rates, and then we worked out, and it tells you how many you made, basically. So, and they've got the ones that are stamped with serialized. So 0 out of 300, out of 500, and out of 900, I think. And already some of these, there's hundreds of copies, and already some of them are selling up over $20,000 each. And I'd like to know the amount of money that's been bought, exchanged, traded in this TCG, in this set already. I would say it's probably upwards of $5 million. Easily.
Yeah.
But it's, I can't wait just to get product in my hands. I'm not chasing the ring. I don't, outside of obviously me posting it on my socials and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's a really cool thing. It brings people to the game, but it's, I just want to have the cards in my hand and open the product because I love Lord of the Rings. I've never been so excited about a TCG set in my whole life. Like this for me is, 20 years of collecting into one thing. So I'm really excited to open products. But we've had fake proxies of the One Rings already announced.
Yeah.
People think it's real. the problem, I guess, with this is a lot of people don't know Magic the Gathering at all, and they've seen people talking about it. They jumped on the hype train, and then I've had maybe 50, 60 people message me over the last couple of days saying, "Oh my god, it's been pulled already." Yeah, and I'm like, "No, it's not. It's a proxy." And they're like, "Well, how do you know?" And it's like, that's like me saying to you, "Well, how do you know your base set Charizard isn't fake?"
Yeah,
well, you know it isn't. So
it was always going to happen in terms of like a proxy.
Yeah, of course. You can actually buy them for $3.50.
Yeah,
at the moment, the proxies. So I'll probably buy one, honestly, just to get in my binder, because I want to complete a binder set, and I'm never getting the one ring, so the serialized one anyway.
Yeah. Be a good video to make as well, just showing it differences and things.
Yeah.
Do you think those prices will hold that have happened already? Just because, like, with pre-release, it's like that initial hype of like, wow, it's not out yet, and if you really, really want to buy these cards, you can, but there's not many of them for sale because hardly any have been opened. So it's like, it kind of drives some prices up sometimes in some TCGs because it's so limited, and you want to be the first to buy it, so you're like, yeah, I'll just pay whatever. I want to be the first person with that card. Do you think the prices are high because of that, or do you think that probably this will actually set the prices going forward?
Yeah, I did actually have this conversation so I'm going to relate this to Magic the Gathering's recent sets. So every set for the last couple of sets, they've had serialized cards in them, and they've sold for pretty good prices. You know, some of them are sold $5,000 upwards, and there is literally hundreds of them. You know, some of the sets have had like 8 different ones, and there's 500 of each one, and they've held their prices pretty well now, and that's 3 to 6 months on. So I think this year they'll hold their price, most of them. I think the ones that are like 1 out of X amount, 69 out of, because people, to pick up the mean numbers. The Elven ring specifically, like the 3 out of 300, obviously there was 3 Elven rings. So the ones that have significance will hold value and continue to going up. But I think a lot of them, especially the human rings, so you got the Elven, the Dwarven, and the human. I think the human ones, because there's more of them, I think there's 900 of them, I don't think they'll hold their value medium term. I think there's definitely, if I could have a 10-year graph here right now in front of you all, I would say right now we're going up here, and I think we're probably going to drop a little bit medium term. And I think long term, I mean, you just have to look at some of the Facebook groups for Lord of the Rings collectors outside of Magic the Gathering. Yeah. And they're dropping the average Weta display models. Some of them cost like $10,000 each, and people are like, "Oh, I'll get 6, 7 of those a year." So if you take it out of a TCG product, ignore that it's a card game product. Yeah. You've got these die-hard Lord of the Rings fans that are spending so much money. They'll go around the country. They'll get these cards signed, by all the voice actors from the movies. Not the voice actors, but the actual actors, So they'll get these cards signed. I think the fact that it's Magic the Gathering, the fact that it's a Lord of the Rings set, and the fact that it's Lord of the Rings outside of it being just a TCG, a lot of these cards will hold their value long term. But I would imagine some prices will drop for some of them that aren't as rare, to be honest.
Yeah, that's a really good point. But it's not like a Lord of the Rings have made their own TCG. You've got these two. I mean, similar to Weiss Schwarz, but like that's every set, right? Every set has to be a collab between IPs. But with Magic the Gathering, that's not the case. It's their own TCG, right? So you've got these two giants coming together and blending those two different worlds. Like you said, you've got Lord of the Ring collectors who, probably never touched Magic coming into it because of the Lord of the Rings side of it. You've got obviously the Magic the Gathering collectors because it's a Magic the Gathering set, so they're going to get it as well. And it's like, it's kind of a perfect recipe for a massive, successful set, really, isn't it? Like it's, that's really interesting, and it'd be really, really fun to watch and see what happens. Like I'm not getting any, but I love hearing you talk about it and getting that information about it because it's just so interesting and seeing all these different things happen in the TCG side of things. So obviously you said about the what, like, serialized 900, was it? Like one of 900 humans and stuff. Do you think they may have overdone it with some of the serial cards, like oversaturated it a little bit with like for those ones, for example? Could they have like just skipped that, or do you think it helps and makes it a bit more fun because it's just another opportunity to pull a serialized card, even if you're not getting tons of product?
Yeah, I mean, the pull rates are ridiculously low. So although, as we always say, people are like, oh yeah, but it looks like loads are being pulled. It's not. There's just so much product being opened. You know, people are opening, I mean, I watched a guy open 70 collector boosters, boxes, and you think $400 a box times 70, that's an astronomical amount of money. I think if you didn't have the serialized cards, let's be honest here, you don't pull the One Ring and you're spending $400 in a box and nothing in it is worth more than $20, you're going to be pissed.
Yeah, true.
So I think they've done it, the way they've done it works in line with the lore of Lord of the Rings. Like if you're a big diehard Lord of the Rings fan, you understand the lore. You'll look at these cards and you'll look at what they've done with this set. I know there's been some backlash a little bit about Aragon because they've changed the colour, but, you know, who cares really, honestly, about that specific thing. But if you understand the lore and you understand the rings, all the soul rings, and you've got, you know, the human, the dwarven, and the elvish, it makes sense. And I think that having 300, I think it's 300, 700, 900 or whatever. Add that up. That's less than 2,000 serialized cards in a set, and there's 250,000 collector boosters made. So yeah, I don't know. I think it was a good choice, honestly, for them to do. I'm just interested to see. I'm going to keep tracking prices. Most of them is all private sales. None of it, you know, none of this is stuff really that hits eBay. It's stuff that's done through group chats, Discords, and that. So I'm going to keep sort of tracking it, and I'll probably do an update video next week once the set's actually released and kind of go through it. I mean, we'll talk about it on here anyway because it's interesting to kind of report what's happening. But to me, it kind of, it's almost like Magic the Gathering have peaked now with this set. And I know they've announced Doctor Who next, but I don't think it's a full expansion. So it'd be interesting to see how they can
top it.
How they can even compete with their own product.
Yeah. So. How are they going to top this? Yeah, I don't know. Just do a second set.
Well, they kind of are, but yeah.
Yeah. I think what's really interesting is, like, you've got exact numbers of, like, this many boosters exist, this many serialized cards exist. I think it plays into the secondary market so much. Like, if the ring doesn't get pulled and people keep opening these packs, those numbers start going down. The packs, technically, they're going to be worth more because you've got more of a chance of hitting the ring. There's still going to be people who keep these sealed because they know that if it doesn't get pulled, they go up in value. Like, there's so much to it that just makes it so interesting to, like, watch from anyone who likes any TCGs at all, because it's just got such an interesting dynamic to it. So yeah, I can't wait to see it come out. I mean, just see you open some and listen to your thoughts on it. So yeah, I'm really interested to see where this goes. It's such a fun thing to follow, even though I'm not collecting it. It's just so interesting. Yeah, I think we're probably done for today, aren't we? Unless there's anything else you need to wanted to go over?
I think that was pretty much it. I think, there's when you've got Pokemon and, this Magic the Gathering set pretty much kind of trumping everything, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good. I mean, in 6 months' time, we'll probably be talking. People might have forgot about this Lord of the Rings set, obviously.
Yeah. Who knows?
And there'll be something. Maybe they'll do a Marvel set, kind of like Weiss has done. That would be interesting to see. But yeah, that's it, I think, for today.
Yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you got to this point, we are on Spotify as well. I always forget to mention this because just assume. I mean, you may be listening to this on Spotify anyway, but it's on YouTube and it's on Spotify. It's on both of our channels. Both of our links are always in the description if you're not already subscribed to us both. And there's also ways to support us with Jamie's Patreon and my Weiss Schwarz store. So if you can do that, that'd be amazing as well. And yeah, just thanks for watching. Thanks for coming to listen to us talk. And we will see you guys in the next episode.
Bye.